I'd like to call the January 8th, 2025 meeting of the Ogdentown Board to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd ask that you remain standing for a moment of silent reflection and prayer for our military servicemen and women serving around the world, as well as for our first responders. Thank you. The first order of business is we've got something really fun and exciting that we get to do here. I'd like to call up Kyle Daly, Kevin Hall, Alex Regal, and Mark Benetti to come stand here. And if the board members would like to join me, we've got a pretty fun swearing-in exercise to do here. So.
Stripes look shiny.
Let me start. Okay. One of the things that is really honestly quite the privilege to do as the town supervisor is that I get the ability to swear in new officers and promotions for officers in Ogden Police Department. And what I'll say is this: I'm not a cop. I've never been a cop. I'm a huge supporter, but I rely heavily on our command staff and on our chief to make decisions. And what I always say to the chief and what I always say to our department heads is that I'm always looking for a healthy mix of two things. Number one, I'm looking for competency. I'm looking for people that really understand and know how to do the job. But the second thing, and the thing that is, I'm not going to say more important, but certainly not less important, is character. We have such a great reputation in not just the town of Ogden, but in the county and in the state for the level of service and the character of our men and women in law enforcement. And so I love joking around, but I also love being very serious and just basically saying to our chief that, you know, I'm relying on you to look at those two things very carefully. Character being something that allows us to be in the community and develop that level of trust with our residents. And competency, because apparently there's a lot to know about copping outside of driving around and arresting people for speeding. And I think that that's where, you know, coming to something like this means so much, because it means that we've identified people that have the honor, to be completely honest, of wearing this badge. And what's also equally special about that is that we often have people from the department that are long since retired. We have former chief here, and we often have former chiefs. We have another one that is recovering in the hospital right now, otherwise would be here because he's always here. And oh, he is here. But we're just so grateful that we have you know, the support of so many people in this department. So very grateful for all of you for being here and being part of this. And before we actually get to the swearing in, I want to invite our police chief to say a couple words.
Thank you, sir. Real quick before I get started, my name is Travis Gray, I'm the police chief here. I'm sorry I haven't met all the family or friends that are here tonight, but we will next door afterwards. Tonight's a very special occasion. We're a very small agency, and we don't have this occur that often, but when we do, as you can see by the officers that are here on their own time, it's a special occasion. We are like a family here, and it's just reinforced by the turnout from not only the membership, but you folks as well. What's unique about tonight is all of these individuals have already been police officers or have retired from law enforcement, and it's a very noble profession. But I want to give a shout out to, because of the fact that they're all police officers already, this is a special occasion for you guys, but it's also a very important occasion for you folks in the audience, because they could not do what they do. This is a very demanding and noble job, are a reflection of the support that they get at home. So you shall be very proud, and I thank you all for taking the time to come out here and supporting them. For you guys that are about to take your oaths again, so they've all been working already. This is more of just a ceremony. They're in the middle or already have completed their field training, and Sergeant Benetti's worked with us for over a decade. So they're already in their new roles, but this is just for ceremony. The one thing I want you guys to remember is this department, as evidenced by Chief Rule here, has a long tradition of our core values: respect, integrity, courtesy, and fairness. Every time you guys put your badges on, I want you to keep that in mind and use that as inspiration moving forward. We have a great legacy here, great reputation, and I want to keep that legacy alive long after I'm gone from here. So that torch gets passed here tonight. So that's enough of the chief spiel. What we're going to do is we're going to call each officer up individually, and whoever from the family, I texted the officers tonight that wants to come up and hold the Bible, welcome to do so. You can take photos throughout all of this. When we finish, we'll do a group photo of the 4 officers, myself, the board, whatever, with no families that we'll post on social media. I don't like to post pictures of family on social media. And then we'll go next door for some quick refreshments and more photos. So,
Very good. Thanks, Chief.
So the first one we'll do is Officer Hall. Sure.
Go ahead and place your left hand on the Bible, raise your right. You know what, I'm gonna stand here so I'm way out of your way. And repeat after me. I, Kevin Hall,
I, Kevin Hall,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of police officer
the duties of police officer
for the town of Ogden
for the town of Ogden,
according to the best of my abilities.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Next we'll do Kyle.
Next, we have Kyle Daly, and anybody that would like to join us out today? All good? You got it. Very good. Okay, sir. I, Kyle Daly,
I, Kyle Daly,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United
and the
States
Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of police officer
the duties of police officer
for the town of Ogden
for the town of Ogden
according to the best of my abilities.
according to the best of my abilities.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
Alex Regal? Ready? I, Alexandria Regal,
I, Alexandra Regal,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of police officer for the Ogden Police Department
the duties of police officer for the Ogden Police Department
according to the best of my abilities.
according to the best of my abilities.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. And now, one thing that we probably do even in lesser occasion is a promotion to the position of sergeant. We have 3 sergeants and 1 chief, and that is essentially our command staff here. And it's one of those things that we're always looking for leadership within this department, and what's really tough is that every officer we have is already a leader, and they're already individuals that excel at the highest level. And so when this opportunity comes up, and again, like I said, it doesn't come up very often, we take it extremely seriously. And what is really something that is a huge privilege of me to be able to do here is that this becomes an individual that not only becomes the sergeant that is at a desk, but equally is someone that's on the road and continuing to do the duties of the Ogden Police Department. It's a grand responsibility, and when people want to step up, when we have people that are in this department that continuously want to step up, it just speaks to the character of the leadership that's already been established and the leadership that was before that. So, I have to call you Sergeant Benetti because you're technically already, but, sir, if you wouldn't mind, and anybody that's here. All right, sir, raise your hand. I, Mark Benetti,
I, Mark Benetti,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of police sergeant
the duties of police sergeant
for the town of Ogden
for the town of Ogden
according to the best of my abilities.
according to the best of my abilities.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
You should do a photo with the board.
Sounds good. Okay.
If you guys want to come up, we'll do a group photo with the board and the supervisor and myself, and then after we snap a quick photo here, we can all right directly across the hall, we have stuff set up, so.
All right, thank you all very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's a good event. I can give him a shout tomorrow or something.
I'll have a call tonight, because this guy had all plywood and everything else, and
Yeah.
all the sack.
Yeah, absolutely, because otherwise they're not gonna.
Thank you.
If anybody's gonna ruin it, trust me. That's why we can't miss things. Yeah, give me a call, you got my number. If I'm busy, I'll call you back. All right. Thank you.
Ronnie? Robbie, he's just trying to wrestle.
Too many clear the rooms.
Kid didn't like that,
Sir,
whoever that was.
good, how you doing?
Someone's pictures. You think?
It's all right.
I'm not sure if
Just a life-saving word. It's my dress uniform that I just keep on a hanger permanently, so I don't have to.
So you have to change it all the time? Add stuff to it? So you didn't work?
First of all, can I ask this question? How did that guy get a polo sweatshirt? I was told you had to plunge in order to get one of those things.
I did, I plunge a loader every year.
Is this him signing up for this year's event? That's not good. This one's old. He's been part of this.
He's already got the sweatshirt, why would he plunge again?
shake a stick.
All right. Okay, well, we will move on with our agenda here, starting with approval of the minutes, Resolution 71.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Hinman, seconded by Councilman Gerbino. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next is approval of the organizational meeting minutes from January 2nd.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Baker, seconded by Councilman Toms. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Excuse me. Item carries. Next on the agenda, we have privilege of the floor. If there's anybody here that wishes to address the board at this time, please come and state your name and address, and we'll take it away from there. Oh, Linda, I am so sorry. Give me 1 second. I know.
Linda Jagario, 110 Ogden Center Road. I have a question about what is the exact roles and responsibilities of a FOIL appeal officer?
Very good. So there is a I'll speak in general, because I think you know part of this.
FOIL process is.
Yeah, so we have a FOIL officer, which happens to be our town clerk. And so basically, any requests that come through that are under FOIA is going through our town's attorney. And the town attorney essentially, I'm sorry, not the town attorney, our town clerk. The town clerk essentially gathers the information and usually as a discussion with the town attorney and with department heads, basically decides what information is allowed to be foiled and what isn't. There are absolutely certain things that are privileged information or things that are not allowed to be foiled. I'll also say there's potential for us to submit documents that could be incomplete, whether we knew about that or not. And so somebody can basically appeal and say, you know what, I disagree, you can't deny my request, or I feel like there's more things. And after that, it skips over the person that is the FOIL officer and goes to somebody else who then has to make a legal determination on that. In the town's case, it has always been the town's attorney. And so with Mr. Shum retiring, we simply went from one attorney to other. I invite you to speak to anything else that I may have missed.
Yeah, no, I thought that was a good description of that position. So essentially, there is the FOIL officer, but then the town board can designate the FOIL appeals officer, which takes the second look at it. If the person that made the request disagrees with that initial determination, it gives that municipality a chance to look at it again and then issue a written decision on that.
Great, thank you. So just an example of something that you couldn't foil?
Sure.
Personnel issues or?
It could be. It could be also in general if you're foiling. I'll say we get like police records. We get those foiled, and whether certain names or things have to be redacted. Yeah. And to be honest, the reason we need that FOIL appeals officer is because literally the next step is it goes to Section 78 in front of a judge. And then a judge makes the determination. So it's kind of one last shot for the town to feel like they get it right before it gets to that. It's rare, but it does happen.
Thank you. Second favorite subject, Gillette Road Bridge. What are the updates? Nothing?
We had a call scheduled just before the holidays, and I got a call to cancel that call because they couldn't get the federal partners on the line. But we have engaged with the town's attorney, with the county's attorney, John Brigwa, and our new attorney to have that conversation soon. I'm a little bit discouraged at the $100 million that went to the Interloop. Yeah, not that that's not necessary over there, but to have shown up in our town and promise to be the heavy hitter and then be completely MIA it doesn't sit very well with me. But we do have conversations with the county on a regular basis.
Okay, I'll keep asking.
The second I have news, I will be shouting it from the rooftops.
Sounds good. Third question or comment. So there was an incident on November 25th in the village with Mr. Wolf and one of our village business owners. Allegedly, Mr. Wolf threatened him, and allegedly, Mr. Wolf chest bumped him. I'm just wondering what occurred from that complaint that came into you.
What I'll say about that whole situation is that is a completely private matter, as it had nothing to do with the town time, town vehicle, town anything. I did have
Mr. Wolf wasn't in a town vehicle at the time?
According to the person who reached out, who belongs to that company, no, that person said as much as well.
And Mr. Wolf's hours are 8 hours a day, starting when and ending when?
As an elected official, we actually don't really have hours, but the highway department is done conducting business by 3:30.
So it was on his own time, whatever occurred?
Honestly, I think because this is not a town matter, I don't,
Fair enough.
all I'm doing is, as someone who was not there, giving information that I don't have firsthand knowledge on. And it not being a town issue is the other part that I just want to specifically.
Well, the complaint was made to you, so, okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else that wishes to address the board at this time? Yes, sir?
Mike Mayer, 405 Whittier Road. Well, I did not want to open up my mail on Monday. I did. I'm here to compliment this board. I went to the fire department. I'm here. 3% for the county, so Colby did his job. I did call his office. I had no idea whether they would lower the rate the way they did, which was 38%. Yours was 2.9, the fire department was 4.1, and the ambulance is a little different this year. When I opened up the bill, I expected, I don't know what I expected, considering my assessment went up $150,000. Went up a total of $266 for all of those combined. And I'm comparing that to the school board, which I would be on the budget committee. I think somebody's husband is on the board, I'm not sure.
Nothing about what he does.
Yeah, I know. But theirs went up 8.2 last year. I have no idea, other than the bond issue that was passed is gonna increase my taxes 2.75 a year for 16 years. And that's not considering anything that's gonna happen this year. So I really wanna commend this board, the fire department, and everybody for what you did. Now, I don't know about other people's taxes. Mine's a $375,000 house, so I'm up in the upper tier of the homes, even though it was built in 1980. I just really want to commend you guys for the job that you've done, the fire department, because when I did open up and it was only a $200, $266 increase, I was very pleased. And I know you spent a lot of time on this, and I want you to realize there are people out there that are very happy with the job that you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Really appreciate that. I know that it was a very trying year for all stakeholders, but I gotta tell you, I don't know that I've had a year where I worked with the fire department. They invited me to review their budget, and just working with stakeholders for the benefit of the community. Very easy for all of us to get isolated and determine that we're all different sects of this community, when realistically, we want to do more together. We have intermunicipal agreements with the village for shared services. We have intermunicipal agreements with other towns for shared services. And some of the amenities, the even lease of equipment and, rebuilding the fuel island, it goes further than just supporting the town of Ogden in this building and the one across the street, but equally for other services that benefit this town. If the fire district's tax rate does not increase as high as it could because we have a shared service, then that's still a win for the town. Just because our tax rate doesn't, isn't the one that drops significantly. If all of them drop a little bit, it's still a huge win for the town. So I appreciate you seeing that much bigger picture, Mike. And I will say that I received a note from the town clerk's office with somebody who was not as cordial on the phone. And when I called him, and I had asked our town clerk for 3 years worth of their taxes so I could review it with them. When you really broke it down and shared it with him, it's disarming, because the numbers don't lie. The percentages are one thing, but actually looking at the dollars, they don't lie. And we were able to get off the phone and, schedule a time to have coffee, because he really appreciated that, having a full look at it, that the picture was, much less than what he really thought it was from the beginning.
Well, consider, mine went up $109 from the town for 12 months.
$10.
$10 a month for the services I receive. Thank you.
Thank you for saying as much. I appreciate that. Is there anybody else that wishes to address the town at this time? Okay. Seeing none. Lost my place here. Okay, we will be moving to resolution 73 under reports and remittances.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Councilman Tom, second by Councilman Baker. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, under town audits, resolution 74.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Councilman Tom, second by Councilman Baker. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. One item there under correspondence, and then we've got reports from town officers. So we just had our organizational meeting last week, so I don't have a ton to report, but it's really fun to have a 15-minute meeting with 69 resolutions that are passed, and really it's just our way of getting the stage ready for the entire year. So appreciate all the help and support from all the department heads who put this together. In Christian's absence, Shannon has been helping us out tremendously, so thank you so much to Shannon for putting these agendas together. On February 2nd, not to steal anybody's thunder, but the town is once again supporting the Polar Plunge. We have individuals that are collecting for that in support of the town's team. Also, I just want the board to know, this is more for the board than anybody else, but Wednesday, January 29th at noon, we are doing a retirement luncheon for Dan Shum. We're waiting for a couple of special things to happen in order for that to take place, which I can tell you about at another time, but Wednesday, January 29th at noon right here. In conversations with our assessor's office, every year annually they have to send out a public notice. And there's an expense to that, obviously, with postage being, 72 cents now, something like that. And so they came to us and said, hey, how do you want to go about it this year? We obviously have, a line item for budgets and wanting to make sure that we're combining services as often as possible. We listened to some people last year that said, well, why don't you do any newsletters? And we said, well, we do. And, well, why don't you have them? Well, we have them online. So in sort of taking that and then combining it with a bit of a frugal approach, we're actually going to have another newsletter that we're going to put out in February. It's not going to be like the one that we do in the fall, where it's every department and updates from everybody, but we want to gather and make sure that we're gathering any new news that we want to put out there. So we'll be able to use that public notice. We'll also publish the state of the town address, and then whatever other things go around to departments, and make sure that any of the latest news is part of that. So just so you are aware of that we're going to be putting that together. Also wanted to tell you that we had an inspection, sort of a final commercial inspection for the Amazon facility. They did give us the $77,000 permit fee and are outfitting the facility. They're going to start moving things around in the next 2 weeks. And I don't know how long it's going to take for them to be fully operational, but it's right around the corner there. We've gotten multiple calls about the space across the street that the town rezoned. There's going to be a proposal for another industrial operation across the street. And I'll tell you about that when I know more. We have been working with the county since last summer. We've been working with the county for years on this, even when I was a county legislator, to get some funding for the Colby Pulver House. That's where our historic, our Ogden Historic Society sort of has all of our historic equipment. There's a barn, and then there's a house that's there. And we've been working with the county to secure the grant funding to renovate, and been working with some partners out there. They have been out there, I would say 20 times in the last 6 months, different engineers, architects, masons, to get that house to a really good, safe place. They just built a brand new handicap accessible ramp all the way to the back door. They're working on a lot of sustainable improvements to the basement, making sure that it's dry, making sure that it's mold free, and really getting it to a spot where people can, get back to using it the way that they once did. So great collaboration with the county there, and man, has that been a labor of love as well. Continuing to inch forward on a number of very, very big projects in 2025, including our public water infrastructure project, expansion of the Veterans Memorial, and Buffalo Road Parks. There's some good news on all of those fronts, but I'm going to wait to confirm some things before giving updates on that. But that should be in the next month or two, where I'll have some good things to share with this board. And that's it for me. Next, we'll have Councilman Baker.
No report.
Councilman Gerbino.
Just to expound a little bit on what Mike said about the Polar Plunge, it's great to have a town team attached. For those who don't know, the Polar Plunge is a law enforcement torch run initiative that benefits the athletes of Special Olympics. And also, relative to Special Olympics, for those with intellectual disabilities that become members of Special Olympics, throughout the county of Monroe, actually it's throughout the state of New York, but the money that we raise stays predominantly locally. And the plunge is meant to raise funds and awareness for those athletes. There's never any money charged to athletes to compete, travel, eat, or be dealt with for their year-round sports training and competition. So in my eyes, there is no better cause. It's attached to my previous job of being a police officer, and I'm also excited to see the new bodies attached to the Ogden Town Board, or the Ogden Town PD, because it's young blood to attach to an organization that is it's an international, and it really serves a wonderful purpose. So thanks for bringing it up, and that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Hinman.
Yeah, the zoning board, CBA meeting this month, only one item that, to speak of right now. But it was a GIZI project, for the, what's the party house there?
Whittier Road Party House.
Whittier Road Party House, over there, Buffalo Road in Whittier. That project that he had, which was gonna be a mixed-use, storefront and storage in the back. He's having trouble filling those retail spots, so he went before the board there to change his application to just put it zoning. So just an update for you guys, just to know that that's what's going on with that. That's it.
Good. Thank you. Councilman Toms.
Briefly, I saw a few items in the audits this week related to the operations center over in the highway department. So I took some time, went over and met with Todd, and took a little tour of what's going on. And I think Monday you said the team was coming in, the vendor was coming in to start finishing up some of that. So that looked really nice. And reminder of the Rotaries got their trivia night coming up on February 19th over at the.
Do they have good? Have good people this year?
Not very.
No.
No.
Okay. Steve's one of the. Not really. Very good. Anything else?
No, thank you.
Highway Superintendent Dan Wolf.
We're still waiting on our trucks. There's a steering box issue with the trucks. They're sitting on $1.5 million. Volvo is. Henderson hasn't been paid for it. Volvo's been paid. I'm on the phone every other week with them. We can't get the boxes straight. They're the same boxes that are in our Volvos now, and they don't have answers. It's pretty sad. But we're still working on trucks, and that's it.
Are there 3 trucks that
Four trucks.
these will be replacing?
They're gonna replace 2 trucks.
Okay.
We're gonna keep 2 trucks due to the fact that what the governor wants to try to do with. So we're gonna do the same. We're gonna do the same thing that the state did, take $60 million and try to refurbish our trucks. So we're gonna try to refurbish our trucks the best we can.
We just ordered them so long ago that I forgot what you were even doing with them.
It's been 2 years, and we changed vendors. It would be July of 2025 is when we would have got the trucks from Western Star, but we went with Volvo with an earlier date, and now they've been sitting on West Center Road for a month and a half, and they just can't they can't figure out why, the steering radius, we can't turn one of the trucks around in a, cul-de-sac, so it's no good to us. I'm not accepting the truck until, we can do that, so they can send their money and just sit there and let it sit until they get the trucks fixed. It's a good thing we didn't take them because we'd be stuck with them and then tell them to try to fix it.
Very good. Town Clerk, Noel Burton.
Tax bills, were delayed about a week. They are finally have hit the residents and we are busy collecting taxes.
Very good. From there, there is no other unfinished business, so we'll move into new business. Madam Clerk?
Resolution 75, authorizing the acceptance of a donation from Spencer Canal Days to the Ogden Police Department in the amount of $1,865.98.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerbino, seconded by Councilman Hinman. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 76, authorizing the town to designate Brian Marinetti as the town of Ogden's FOIL appeal officer.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Councilman Baker, seconded by Councilman Toms. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 77, authorizing the town supervisor of the town of Ogden, Mike Zale, or his designee to make all necessary budget transfers from the medical expense accounts to the insurance opt-out account for participation in the opt-out program as described in Resolution 249-10.9.24.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Hinman, seconded by Councilman Gerbino. Any discussion? I'll just add that the town board did create a brand-new policy that allows for employees to opt out of medical insurance as part of a buyout. And when that happens, the town needs to actually move money that is budgeted inside the medical expense line item into a different category to be able to actually pay it to the employees. And seeing as this is the first time we've had this policy, 2025 will be the first year that we're implementing it. This is just a necessary change so that the finance director is able to move money from one account, one budgeted account to an appropriate account. So that's why it's there. Is there any other?
I have a question for you. What
Okay.
if someone opts out and 6 months down the road, they gotta opt back in because say their mother or their wife's insurance got changed?
Yes, so.
Are they able to opt back in?
Absolutely. We do not pay it all out at once. It's actually built into either once a month. I can't remember if it's once a month or every paycheck. So basically, that month, they will receive that portion of the opt-out that they're entitled to, and then the very next month. Open enrollment is once a year, but if you have an actual life-changing situation, you are allowed to opt back in to your insurance. So, yeah, good question. Anybody else? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 78, authorizing the budget transfer necessary to accommodate payment for assessment services.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Tom, seconded by Councilman Hinman. Any discussion on this? Once again, I will just state that we are moving money from a salaried account because when we built this budget, we were looking for a brand-new full-time assessor. And what we ended up doing is we did an intermunicipal agreement with the town of Gates. And so we're moving from a personal services, which is a salaried account, to a contractual services, since we are paying the town of Gates for this. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 79, authorizing the hiring of Joshua Greenman to the full-time competitive position of Assistant Building Inspector in the Town of Ogden Building Department.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerbino, seconded by Councilman Baker. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 80, authorizing the hiring of Robin Woodington to the full-time competitive position of Assessment Clerk in the Town of Ogden Assessment Department.
So moved.
Second.
by Councilman Baker, seconded by Councilman Toms. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 81, authorizing the Town of Ogden Supervisor Mike Sale to execute a contract between the Town of Ogden and HR Works.
So moved.
A second.
Moved by Councilman Baker, seconded by Councilman Gerbino. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I'm not going to adjourn to work session. Instead, our town attorney has something like to discuss with the entire board. So I'm going to make a motion that we move to executive session to consult with our town's attorney.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you all for coming. We are adjourned to executive session. We can